Florida State's 2-year plan to reach the college football playoff.
You are Locked On Seminoles, your daily podcast on the Florida State Seminoles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back into Locked On Seminoles. I am your host, Brian Smith, longtime college football recruiting analyst. Thank you for making Locked On Seminoles your first listen each and every day right here on the nation's #1 sports broadcasting network, Locked On. We're going to be discussing everything that could go wrong with a 2-year plan if Florida State doesn't do it right after they get rid of Norvell. But if they do it right, 2 years, 100% in 2 years, Florida State can make the playoff. So what are the next steps after you get rid of Norvell at the end of this season? And how does that ascension look? Let's talk about that right now. Number one, there can be no hesitation after the season. No need to go into detail. It's as blatant as it can be. Mike Norvell must be removed. Number two, you have to not only bring in a really good coaching staff, but it's the transition part. And this is the gray area that I want to focus on a little bit. Whoever stays on, the assistant coaches, Odell Hagens, etc., they have a very mighty task. Keeping as many quality football players, especially the younger guys, engaged in the program and making sure they stay. The administration's got to work with them. NIL's got to be a part of it. I've discussed that before here on Locked On Seminoles. You're probably going to have to pay a little extra to keep some guys more than you want. But it's the lesser of two evils. Pay them. Makai, Danzy, Uzman Croma, all those young linemen. They've got some good players. The Sear twins, sure. Shamar Arnaud, that young man played a bunch last night. He's a good football player. Virginia Tech didn't throw the ball very well. He's a top young corner. You're going to have to find ways to keep these guys happy emotionally, showing them their future, and again, NIL. And then we're also going to talk about the next steps that is awkward. I have no idea who the next head coach is going to be. But as fast as you can get it done without obviously hiring somebody to hire somebody, that's pivotal. The transfer portal window is January 2nd through January 16th. Just the generic portal. Has nothing to do with Florida State. That's for everybody. They're going to see some guys leave they don't want. That's okay. Guys that the next coach is like, yeah, if he leaves, whatever. But you're probably also going to lose some guys no matter what you do. Even what I just talked about, all the right steps. Some guys are still going to leave because they want a fresh start. They're going to want to go to a program that's not building. They're reloading. If it's a Kevin Wynn or somebody like that, that would suck. But you have to be prepared for that. And that's why the next coaching staff needs to be in place as fast as possible. That way you can assimilate your staff for 2026, prepare by reviewing the roster, watching film, doing interviews with players, and at least giving yourself a chance, not just to keep the guys, but get them fired up. Because you got to hit the ground running with the offseason conditioning program and recruiting for 2027, 2028, 2029. Recruiting never stops. And hopefully whoever ends up being the next man at the helm, that individual, along with every assistant, they really apply themselves in recruiting. This staff has done much better than Mike's prior, but they still need to take another step up. All of those things, having their ducks in a row early, will help them hit the ground in recruiting because they're not playing catch up with the roster. They got to hit that first. And here are a couple other key notes here. This is where I don't know how it's going to go. The coaching staff doesn't have a ton of say in this, although they can help. If the administration makes the right hire, again, very subjective, it's more likely that the big money boosters are going to help down the line when something comes up, whether it's retaining a player, whether it's going out and getting a portal player, etc. But they got to be all in during a time that's a transition. And year one, if it's done properly, this may sound odd, but I'll explain, is probably not going to be much fun. Why? Well, it's real simple. The biggest pitfall Florida State can make is going all in the portal for 2026. You're not making the playoff next year if you do this right. As goofy as that sounds, the roster is not in a healthy enough spot. And you're, again, no matter what you do, you're going to lose a few guys that you really don't want to lose. That's as inevitable as possible. It's okay. This is a 2-year, not a 1-year plan. To that end, you must do the following after you get everything lined up. And this is where the rubber meets the road. Will Florida State play the young players after they retain them, pay them, make them happy, make sure they know they're a part of everything Florida State's going to do? Will they play the young players even at spots where it's probably going to be awkward? Number one on that board is quarterback. Kevin Sperry's got a really good future. I think he's got a ton of talent. You could run him in an offense like Gus has. You could run him in an offense that runs the quarterback a little bit, or you could use Kevin in an offense where he's predominantly like an old school Bobby Bowden offense, 1988, throwing the football around and the quarterback's pretty much a pocket guy. He can play in any of them. But no matter which quarterback at any school you look at historically, the vast majority of them are not very good in their first year, especially if they're a redshirt freshman. Will the boosters be patient enough to understand there's no shortcut here? Will fans be patient enough? It's awkward. There is no fun with this, but the first 400 to 500 throws that a quarterback makes as a true starter, as the lead player in a program, the number of bad ideas that go through their head on, I should try this pass, is way higher than you want it to be. There are going to be some really bad picks. There's going to be some really bad throws, decision to who to get the ball to, figuring out protections, all of that. The only way to do it is on the fly, because in practice, quarterbacks don't get hit. You have to put that element into the elixir to truly find out what you have. And the only way you do that is during games. Don't go out and spend on a portal quarterback. And I'm saying I don't think they should bring Tommy back either, to be honest. And I like Tommy. I know Tommy. But he's not going to help you make it to the playoff next year. That's my opinion. He's not accurate enough. We saw that again against Virginia Tech. So after, again, just to reiterate, you get rid of Norvell, you bring in the next coach, hopefully very fast, get the staff together as quickly as you can, retain as much as you can, start recruiting. You got to commit to Kevin Sperry instantaneously. Most coaches will be okay with that, but will the administration, the boosters, and the fans? Probably not. And you got to do it anyway. You're not going to the playoff next year. Don't do it. Don't go get the portal quarterback. Spend the money on the young players. Go through a 7-5 season next year where you're playing a bunch of freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. They're going to become sophomores, juniors, and seniors in 2027. And oh my gosh, develop your own quarterback. Kevin Sperry would be a very good fit long-term for what Florida State wants to do, again, regardless of the scheme, because he's the rare guy that has the athleticism to play in any scheme. He's got the arm to play in any scheme. Figure it out. Whoever you bring in, it'll work. I think he can be a big-time guy. Might even be a guy that could end up winning a Heisman. Anything is possible. But you're going to have to go through that first year. Is he going to be great as a redshirt freshman? Probably not. He'll have some moments you're like, what on God's green earth was that? It's going to happen. To that end, there's another position directly attached to Kevin Sperry next year that we're probably going to see some of that too, and they got to be real careful about not going too far all in and having another pitfall. We're going to talk about that next here on Locked On Seminoles. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel, where the NBA is back and there's no better place to get on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. We are also brought to you by Game Time. College football is as exciting as ever. It's been a wild season. There's been fun across the country. Some of these stadiums are just jumping. Not quite like being at a college football game, but let's be real. All the endless queues, hidden fees, and prices jumping out at you at checkout to get the tickets is not always the most fun. That's why I use Game Time, literally, where I just recently bought 2 tickets to go see IU basketball. It's my alma mater. Had a lot of fun going through the process because it took 5 minutes, and that includes using the time to put in my credit card info. Found the game I wanted to go to, found the seat, had the seat view, put in the credit card information, in and out 5 minutes. Pretty easy. Take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Again, promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. Thank you once again for making Locked On Seminoles your first listen each and every day. I'm Brian Smith, longtime college football recruiting analyst. Please become an everydayer if you have not already. I appreciate it. Now let's talk about the position directly attached to Kevin Sperry, and that is offensive line. They got a lot of young guys. Mario Nash Jr., Jonathan Daniels, etc. I don't know which guys will fit in which places on the offensive line, meaning right guard, left tackle, etc. Again, it depends on the scheme, depends on the O-line coach and all that. But if you want to make a 2-year run to get to the playoff in 2027, it's probably best. You got to let them do it. This is going to be awkward again. There's going to be some errors. You're going to be playing freshmen, sophomores, and juniors there too. This year's team got a decent offensive line for Florida State, but they're all portal guys, and you're going to revamp it again. At some point, you have to take that moment and say, you know what? We're going to go through the process the best way. We're going to use this next season as an opportunity to gain as a program, not worry as much about the record. We'll go 7-5 maybe. If it's better, great. But we're going to be really experienced coming back in 2027. O-line is the most important position other than quarterback to do that. They've got 4 or 5 guys that have got some PT, but they're not necessarily ready. Another offseason, new staff, whatever happens, let's see. But you got to play the young guys. You can't go get 3 portal guys and start them. You got to let them go through some really ugly, awkward, just makes you scream at the TV moments. Because O-line is like quarterback. It is a slow developmental process, as a rule. If they hit the ground running, great. It's a bonus. Don't allow it to be a pitfall. Avoid spending your money on the portal. Get 1 or 2. That's fine. But they don't even have to be definite starters. Spend your money on retention and recruiting, not the portal. Just supplement here or there. Let's go through this the right way for once, Florida State. Spend the money on the staff to get those guys in. Let them develop. Retain as many guys as you can, like Danzy and Chroma. Go through the process with Sperry. You could be really good next year by the end of the next season. Probably not great beginning of the year. It is what it is. But then in 27, could you imagine actually having an offensive line that's homegrown? What a concept. Florida State can do it. Why not? Anybody can do it. And despite all the shortcomings of this staff over the last 3-4 years, again, they've got some guys. Lucas Simmons could be a really good offensive tackle. It could happen. You have to give them the range. You have to give them the confidence, not just dive into the portal. That's the way this works. So with that, I just want to talk about a couple other spots here. Nothing specific, but like DB, I talked about Arnaud. They got to figure that out. The system that you use will be very important at safety in particular with DB. They went from a man team to more of a zone team this year. They need to figure that out really quick because that'll dictate how many guys do stay or leave. Kai Bates, Arnaud, etc. They all have their different skills. They got a lot of really talented guys, and they got some talented DBs committed too. This class is good. Hopefully they keep some of them. I have no idea what's going to happen with that. Hearing rumblings from around the country with a lot of kids. We'll see. Then you got guys like Makai, inside linebacker, Texas is recruiting him. Who knows? But Florida State has a chance. If they can figure out the defensive side and get a little bit of luck with guys staying, again, I don't know which ones will want to hit the portal. You're going to lose some you don't want to lose. Their defense could actually be pretty good next year. Kevin Wynn up front, Desir twins. I think James Williams has another year. He can be at least a rotational piece, Amari Williams. So that'll help you build. And then a lot of those guys have years of eligibility after 2026. So that's a part of it. Arnaud would be a junior in 2027, Kai Bates, etc. You got a lot of pieces. And then in 2027, as the final piece to this 2-year run, that's when you use the portal. If you want to save some money next year, again, I'm good with it. Play the young players. You want to win games, but you're not going to reach your ultimate goal unless you go through the process of letting these young guys take their licks. Florida State has failed at that for far too long. The next staff won't have the pressure getting fired right away, which Norvell and his staff, they're going to hit the portal again because they're just trying to survive. That doesn't get you to the playoff. You got to go through it. Let's see if they're smart enough to hire a coach that understands the slow process and has patience. It's okay to use the portal a little bit this next year to fill a few spots, but you got to let the young guys shine, and guys that have stuck around. If Sam Singleton sticks around, yeah, play him. He's earned it. He's been a good player, by the way, the last few weeks for the Noles. That's fine too. After that, 2027, that's when you go into the portal. That's when Florida State has a chance to make a run. And that's when Florida State will probably be fun to cover again, as well as watch. Next season will be intriguing. Anything more than that, I'd be a little surprised. It'll be up and down if it's done properly. But the long-term benefit, absolutely worth it. You have to go through the process. Thank you once again for making Locked On Seminoles your first listen each and every day right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm going to do a live show tonight, probably around 9 o'clock. Haven't set up the time yet, but we're going to do a live show, and we're going to discuss your thoughts on this topic right here. Should they wait? Going to have some mailbag questions from this probably thrown in, and then just read some live comments. Going to have fun with it. Going to use that for Monday's show as well. Where would you make the most adjustments and everything else? It'll be fun. But again, roughly 9 o'clock is my guess, maybe 9:30, somewhere in there. So plan on that as well. We will talk to you soon. This has been Locked On